Andy's a Watford fan getting in touch. Fascinated to know what he thinks after what's been a rather eventful week, 10 days or so at Vicarage Road after the exit of Marco Silva. Now an exit from the FA Cup. Is there a concern, a decline? Could be dragged into the fight below. Andy, what are you thinking at this moment in time?
Well, it's not exactly a happy camp at the moment at Watford. We're used to change, certainly with managers, as the media likes to point out. But it was just different in the stands today. Gracia, came in and we backed him at the start, but the early goals sort of ruined the atmosphere that should have been in the away end, and things turned pretty sour pretty quickly. Fans, shouting at players and then having a go at players at the final whistle as well. So it wasn't exactly a happy camp. Not what we'd want, and certainly not the new manager bounce that we would have liked or anticipated.
I know Andy said it's not what the media like to point out. It is 10 managers since 2012. So that's, for me, that's not good management. That's not clarity of thought from the powers that be at Vicarage Road. I'm just interested to ask, what's the ambition for a Watford fan now? Some of the producers in the office say Watford staying in the Premier League every season, that's ambition. That will be Watford fans happy. I think it needs to be more than that now. What do you think?
Well, certainly for this season, with the drop in form that we've had, it's now one win in 11 games just before Silva went. So certainly this season, the ambition or the aim is to stay in the Premier League. Yes, we're 10th, but we're only 4 points above the relegation zone. FA Cup today would have been a good way to sort of put a decent team out, try and get a bit of confidence in our side, and it appears to have backfired. But it's frustrating because the first 9 games before Silva had his head turned by Everton, we were fantastic, and we were progressing up the table, showing the ambition that we wanted to be a top half side. That was I think the aim this season. We've had 2 seasons of last season just about staying in the Premier League, but that was the aim for the last 2 seasons. And this year we really wanted to progress and thought we had the guy for it, and we were putting in the performances to show that we could finish in the top half. But now it's obviously a case of just getting the points and staying in the league this season, and then regrouping. There'll probably be a huge shift of players in the summer, and then going again next season. Well, depending on what league we're in, of course. We're being dragged into that relegation scrap, and we need to get out of it sort of sharpish.
Do you really think that the Everton thing had such an effect on the squad and the players, Andy?
Excuses. It is excuses. Andy, Marco Silva gets it right at Watford. Whether you continue to endure this tough run of form, absolutely, you've rightly said. But Marco Silva at Watford Football Club over the next couple of years sees you establish and progress as a football club.
Does he though? Does he?
It's bewildering.
Is that guaranteed? He took Cole down.
Good manager.
He took Cole down, and now he's got Watford into 4 points off of relegation. Is he a good manager?
Andy,
that's the big question, isn't it?
What are you thinking? Watford fans, I was bewildered. What were Watford fans thinking? I'm dropped my roast dinner that Sunday when I
was surprised when he got the sack. Absolutely, yeah.
Do you know what Watford fans weren't actually surprised, or majority of anyway, and a lot of them kind of wanted it to happen. The rumours were that Silva was talking to players and trying to get them to come along to Everton with him. We at the start of the season, when we got Silva, we knew he'd be using us as a springboard, trying to get to the very top of the game, which we're absolutely fine with. We're Watford. We're not glamorous. We're not world beaters. We know he's going to use us to get to somewhere better, which is great because we've got a guy with a bit of ambition. But no one really knows what goes on behind the club. So maybe his focus was turned, is what the official statement said. And we saw a definite shift in confidence in the players as well. Yes, injuries haven't helped, but yeah, at that time last week, I think it was right to part ways.
And I appreciate you.
Something needs to give. No worries.
No, just very quickly, just before you leave us on the full-time phone in talkSPORT2, can I just ask, when are Watford fans banging on the door of the owners? 10 managers since 2012. When are Watford fans directing their anger? I'm sure you are directing your anger and frustration at them already. When are you banging on their door and saying we're not having this anymore?
So the 10 managers in 12 managers in 10 seasons or whatever the stat is, kind of misinterpreted. Garcia resigned for health concerns. Sanino and Zola resigned. So they've not all been sacking. In fairness to us, I think what we want as Watford fans is progress. And when we don't see that progress, or when we see regression, then we can sort of turn. And given the start of the season that we had,
there's been progress on the pitch?
At the start of the season, certainly. We went to Stamford Bridge and played Chelsea off the park and should have won. It wasn't a fluke that we were up in the European spots after sort of 9-10 games. And then we've just last few games, certainly over December, we've lost to the likes of, no disrespect to them, but Palace, Swansea, Huddersfield, Brighton.
Teams that needed the points. Is there that desire at Watford to need the points? Do they need the points to go and push on and be a Europa League team, or do they just think, we're going to be middle of the table?
I mean, I hate to sort of question players like professionalism. Every player should be going into a game thinking they need the points. That frustrates me when a player just thinks, we could probably get away with a draw here. I think every player needs to enter the same game, every single game, with the same attitude, thinking we need the points regardless of table position. You want to finish as high up as you can as a professional sportsman. So,
Andy, top call. Appreciate it. Really do appreciate your call, mate. Thank you for adding your views on the full-time phone in on talkSPORT 2. Spoke well there.